Hello, can you hear me now?
How's it going?
Happy New Year, sir. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year to you, man. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
the confusion there.
No problem, as always. Here we are, last New Year, last live of the year for CY interview here in Las Vegas. Just quick questions. Murray's Misfits last night, Orleans showroom. How much do you like doing those variety shows?
I love it. I always told people I like it because I have to work with my friends. And when you're a headliner, you don't usually get to work with your friends. You have your own show. So, it's not like a dancer where they're in a cast of 30 people or 10 or 15. They have the camaraderie. So it's usually just me on stage, my stage techs, and maybe a guest act. So it's kind of fun having all my friends, whoever I want in the show to hang out, and do a show together. So plus it's kind of fun too. I work a little less because they come in with all sorts of talents and cover the space, so.
Well, absolutely no denying that. But I mean, there was a gigantic crowd there last night. You filled that place up.
Yeah, it was really a nice turnout, and when I talked to the Orleans, the first time I was doing something, we thought, let's do it the day before New Year's Eve. It's kind of a dead day. Most people are in town because they're on vacation. They're here already for the holidays. And Tuesday in entertainment usually isn't a popular day, but we thought it would be because of the fact that, people who do want to come out for New Year's, but don't want to come out on New Year's Eve, like tonight, might be a good day. And we got lucky. It turned out to be very successful, so.
Think you might be doing some more stuff over there?
Yeah, we talked after the show, and they asked me if I'd bring the show back in about 5-6 months. So next week, once I get through New Year's tonight, because we have a show over at South Point, and then we fly to Miami next and up to Canada. But in about a week and a half, once I get back, then I'll look at all the details, and maybe we'll figure out a date, maybe somewhere at the beginning of summer or something like that, and we'll do it again.
Do you have like as a performer, a famous New Year's like performing story, entertainment story? Is there like one great New Year's Eve that you'll always remember?
Not too many. I think there is one I do remember, I guess. It's probably during COVID. I think it was 2020 to 21, I think. And we decided to have a New Year's party at our house, just a few friends, like maybe 10 or 12, because it was obviously COVID, and people who are comfortable and healthy and all that stuff. And we normally don't ever do a New Year's party because we're always working, but there's no real work anywhere. And we had a lot of friends who weren't working. So we had it at our house, and it was great. People brought their dogs over, and we had people in the jacuzzi hanging out and drinking. It was really, really laid back. It was kind of nice, free parking at my house, and free drinks. So it's not a bad hang,
The Orleans also has free parking, Murray.
They do. See, that's why I'm very in tune with them. See, I love that. And actually tonight we're doing a show for Michael Gaughan, the owner of South Point, a personal show. And of course they have free parking too. So that's kind of my thing, I think. I feel like in my rider, if it has free parking, you have a big chance of getting me.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so let me just ask you, you've been around the world this year performing. What have been some of the highlights, not in Vegas?
Oh, well, we were over in Spain for a bit, and I mean, every place has something special, Played the East Coast, which is nice as well, and like I said, St. Lucia and Puerto Rico are gorgeous places as well. It's nice and sunny, and I've always liked Puerto Rico. So yeah, we've really traveled a lot this year. It's been fun. I went and shot a dry bar comedy special up in Salt Lake City and Provo, Utah, and had a great time up there. I've never stayed there before. Always flown into Salt Lake, so we had a great time, and that should be coming out later this year, maybe in the fall or something like that. But yeah, we've had some really cool trips, and it's great because Danny can travel with me now that she's doing a guest spot in my show and stuff like that, and it's kind of fun to be together.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's got to be a wonderful thing for you, being able to work with your wife. No?
Yeah, we're like best friends, so it's not work at all, So.
Oh, she's phenomenal. She is phenomenal. Besides, obviously, an upcoming magician, of course, we should never forget she is a very talented dancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's her history. That's her, that's what she trained in, so.
Moving forward, so let's talk about your special, Amazon Prime, January 6th. What is going on, and congratulations.
Thanks. We shot this just over a year ago, actually at South Point. And it's called Hairlarious Deceptions, because obviously my hair. And yeah, Comedy Dynamics, who's the distributor, took it out there, and Amazon Prime's debuting it January 6th. And I believe they're putting up my old special as well, which I shot about 3 or 4 years ago at the Plaza, and that's going to come out as well. It's gone, but that's already been out, so it's not that exciting because we've already had it out there, but it's going to be back up, and it'll be on Amazon Prime as well. So they'll both be on the same streaming platform, which is kind of cool.
What does it feel like to get that kind of distribution on a major platform and be able to reach more people?
It's amazing, because it's a yes or a no, and it usually is a no. It doesn't matter what you try to go on, because everyone's trying for the same thing. But the key is never to give up. You just keep trying to have something that's original, something that's not out there, And so it's nice when you get that phone call. They say, hey, they signed off on it and it's going live, and then you hear nothing for 2 months, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, hey, we picked a date, this one's going to happen, and the press starts going out for it, and then there it is, So it's pretty cool. We're pretty excited about it. So it's nice to have it out there, because I've known about it for a long time, and that's what's funny is whenever we see a movie come out, we think, oh, that's so exciting. You see all these people doing interviews, but people don't realize they probably shot that movie 2 to 3 years ago. They have to rethink what the heck the movie's about, probably, because we all see it for the first time. We go, oh my God, they just finished filming it. And, you don't realize it's been in the can for, months, if not years,
So we had your friend Rick Harrison on CY interview a couple months ago, and he said there's a new season of Pawn Stars coming, and you were talking about that last night in Murray's Misfits, that there is another new season of Pawn Stars. Is this going to be a traditional Pawn Stars, a Pawn Stars spinoff? What do you think we're getting this time?
Traditional, yeah, it's going to be the same style and everything as they've normally done. The problem with their series too is when you watch the seasons, you don't know which one's which season. I mean, you can tell by who's on the show and sometimes the size of everybody, if they're healthy or not healthy, or young or old, right? Like any TV show. But they really thought that was the end of it, and then they came back this year and said, "Hey, we want one more season." So they're going to start shooting. We're going to start shooting in February some episodes. So they just scheduled some last week that I'm going to do. I think it's maybe April. So I'm going to shoot, I think, February through April. So it's going to be fun. That's great. It's an institution now. I think they've done over 500 or 600 episodes. Rick knows obviously more than I do, but
So this is going to be the last one. This is going to be the last season, you think?
I don't think it is. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that answer. I thought the last one was, from what we heard and what Rick told me, and all of a sudden I got a call a few months ago and they're back up and running. So it's a good show. I mean, it's one of those shows that any age can watch. You can have it in the background when you're making dinner or just doing a puzzle in the living room, or you can actually watch it full on. It's one of those shows, and it doesn't offend anybody. It's educational. It's kind of cool, kind of hip, So it's just that kind of, they really hit that kind of Mr. Rogers televised kind of program where it kind of works for everybody,
It's been seen in over 100 countries. Is there any country you've ever gone to and people have just stopped you because they saw you on Pawn Stars?
Oh, many times. Yeah. I'll be in the middle of nowhere at a local bar or restaurant, and somebody just sitting there like this with a hat on, that, and somebody goes, "What are you doing here? How did you, what, did you lose a bet? How did you get right in this neighborhood?" And it's always a funny story somehow. Either I have a buddy or I know somebody that lives there and we're visiting or whatever, but it's always a funny moment when you see somebody that, if you see them on TV for a long time and all of a sudden you go down to your local watering hole or restaurant and you go, "What are they doing on this street in this restaurant?" So it's kind of a fun thing. So.
Did you enjoy the fact that you had more time to travel this year? I know that you had a residency for a short period of time, a limited time at the Strat, but did you enjoy having to be able to have more freedom this year?
Yeah, because once your schedule's open, people offer you a lot of stuff. When they see your book 6 days a week in Vegas for 12 months, they just look on your schedule and go, "I'm not going to even offer it to them." So it is interesting when you don't have something locked in like that as strictly, how many times you get offers in a day or a week. It's wild, especially with my resume and what I've been doing. So it's kind of nice to have that freedom. I do miss being home every night. I do miss all my animals and of course my wife and our own bed and all that stuff, like anyone would, because we're bodies. I toured for years, but I did it for a long time. So I do know what I'm doing and how to do it, and it is fun to get out there to people. So the best part is, I always say they pay you really for traveling, not performing. Because when I walk on stage, that's not work. That's my life. But the getting there, the traveling, the suitcases, the cars, the hotels, that's, I always say, what they're really paying you for, to get to the place where you're doing your show,
Absolutely. Any plans for a future show again? Do you want to have another show at a resort? What are your thoughts?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. I'm always up for that. But the numbers have to match. I've always done very well in this town because I've always, profited and made the show successful. And I think it's super important that the deal that you make isn't just to see your face on a billboard or do a show on the Strip, because that's what happens to a lot of shows. In the last 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, they lose their house, their cars, their investments, or whatever. It's never been that way for me. And so when the project's right, or whenever. I'll do either one-offs every 3 or 4 months, like I just did last night with the Misfits at the Orleans, or if something comes forward and says, hey, would you do 3 or 4 days a week? I just don't think this town right now is a 5 to 6 show a day a week town to fill every theater. I just don't. Even if you watch Bruno Mars or J Lo, they come in for 3 weeks, in 1 month, and they'll come back in 3 months. And that's 9 dates they'll play. Or even the Backstreet Boys over at the Sphere. Now, granted, it's 10,000 people a night, 3 nights in a row, 3 weeks. That's a ton of people. But even them, after a while, there's only so many people that you're going to exercise that room for. Everyone has a certain selling point, So I think it's definitely changed a little,
So here's my question. Do you think that, like, I don't know, 12 dates a month at a resort is what you're basically saying, like Thursday through Saturday or Friday through Sunday, something like that?
Yeah, 2 or 3 is great, I think, because then you have a really full showroom. People know when you're there. You're not there just every day where they could pop in. It's actually, we better go see him tonight because that's the only night he's there or she's there, whoever's gigging, And I think it's just, but, I think I pride myself on pivoting and changing often, and that's the hardest thing. As you get older, you don't want to change. You go, here I am, take it or leave it. And that's when you get stuck in a rut. You know what I mean? It's just, when you can see changes happening, if you bend with them, you'll be a lot more successful, I think.
As an aside performer, you're a big fan of the Las Vegas entertainment community. What were your highlights for the year for the town, in your opinion? What were the highlights?
That's a good question. And one of the highlights is I heard that the Neon Boneyard or the Neon Graveyard is moving downtown. Because I'm a huge fan of that place. I've shot photos there a lot and the support of their nonprofit and that. So that's kind of exciting. To really kind of a cool neighborhood and area where people can just walk right up to it. A little more touristy, because it's the only thing I always tell them when they come to Vegas, it's the only thing you can see in Vegas that isn't next to, and a bunch of other shows that they're not going to tour with, but it's one thing that you can only see in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty cool. So I try to find those little cool things that you can, restaurants. Well, you can eat a restaurant here, you can eat a great restaurant in New York City. It's the same thing, but certain things in this town. So that I think was kind of a cool thing. I think the baseball team coming in is wonderful, even though I lost my venue. But the town's got to grow, and I think building that big, arena and baseball field, there's going to be pretty cool for the city. You know what I mean? And it's going to look great.
You got to close that resort, though. How many
I did. I
people
was the last person to walk on that stage at the Tropicana and do a show. Yeah.
I mean, think about all the people who performed there, and what was it, 60+ years? Yeah,
wild, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So the thing of what I would have to say is that I think, and this is what a lot of us don't talk about in the entertainment and media community here, is the Sphere, which of course, as you know, is the most expensive entertainment venue in the world. The Wizard of Oz thing this year. I mean, what has that, in your opinion, just added to the Strip? It's unbelievable.
I think it's great. They were building the Sphere for those years ago. Well, here we go. I wonder if it's going to be finished. Wonder what it is. And then when it actually came up, you sit back and go, wow, that's actually something new in our world. Like, that's something pretty cool. Now it obviously changed our skyline here as well. So it's pretty cool, to be around for half of my life now, I guess, and see things that still inspire me and get me excited about living and all that stuff. And that people are, paying it forward, coming with new technology, new ideas, new things. I think it's phenomenal. Yeah, that's what keeps people interested in life, right?
Absolutely. Okay, last few things. What are your hopes for 2026 beyond the special in a couple of days?
What I really think, I hope, is that people in the world can accept other people for having an opinion that is opposite to theirs and still be friends. We've lost that somewhere with the internet and Facebook and all that. And if somebody believes in one thing or another, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they have different belief. You're allowed to. That's why we live here, and that's it. But there's people who write things about, if you believe in this, get the heck out of here. That's like saying religion. If you're Catholic or Christian or Jewish, I can't be your friend. Like, who says that? You know what I mean? And so it's an opinion. Let somebody have an opinion. Give people's opinions back to them and accept them for their opinion. You need to support their opinion, but accept them for having an opinion. I praise somebody for putting their foot down, saying, I believe in this. May not be what I believe in. People may not believe in rescuing animals. I love rescuing animals. That's a topic I wouldn't budge on. But if somebody says they don't believe in, I go, well, I can respect that. That's great. That's your vibe. You get about 80 years on this world. You don't believe in it, then fair enough. But it's my belief. But I don't hate somebody for it. You know what I mean? So
no, what's so unbelievable though? I have a joke, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I have a joke if you don't know. You know, I mean, you have differences of opinions with the Magic Castle, but you're allowed to
I
perform
do.
and be who you are.
Of course. And I still love the Magic Castle, so
That's what I would say to you. But my point, you know, what's interesting about that whole discussion, though, just
hmm
final thought. Las Vegas is the place where people are supposed to put their social issues and politics aside. They're supposed
Yeah,
to come here and have a good time and be able to sit next to somebody who they may have nothing in agreement with socially, and they should just be
sure.
able to both have a good time. And I think that is one of the great things that we still have about Las Vegas. No, is that we are actually the neutral ground of America still, right?
100%. We come here for a reason of just fun and entertainment, and actually to forget about our worries and pains and debt and life and relationships. We all got something that's bothering us. It never's perfect. Not enough money, not too much money, or not enough love, or whatever the heck. Not enough friends, or whatever. And it is fun to be here and come and have a great time and take people out of that real world. That's what Vegas is about. Yeah, we all live here. We have our own lives, but the hook and the idea of Vegas is to just come here and let go for a few days and go back to your regular lives of being teachers and doctors and lawyers and moms and dads and all that stuff, and that's it. I mean, it's a cool environment to be that surrounded by entertainment.
Well, here's a way to sum it up. Las Vegas provides the magic of enjoyment.
It's true, 100%. And I'm all about the magic of enjoyment, as you know me.
So here's my question. Two last things. Like, how does the filming for the Pawn Stars series work? Like, should tell us a little bit about that.
Well, people now know the show, so it's not trying to find people that are trying to give us stuff to put in the show. They don't even know what the show is. So being that the show's a famous show, that helps a lot. So they have people that send stuff in all the time. They have a site for casting, and send in your butter dish from 1906 or a helmet from the war or whatever. And then they have casting people back in New York and that for ITV that go through the stuff. Then it actually goes through Rick. Rick really makes the decisions on everything. He really sees it all, along with his producer Tracy, who's a dear friend of mine. And they make decisions whether it's the right thing or not, and they say yes, no. And once it's agreed upon, they make a date for the person to come in, and they walk in the shop as if they were there that day. And they don't meet them beforehand at all. There's none of that. It's Rick meets them the minute they walk to the counter, so it's as real as you possibly can, because that's what makes the show real. And no, when they don't have the shop open all day and hoping someone's going to walk in with a random item. They can't afford that. The shop can't. No one can. No one has that much time. But even though that's the idea, it looks like. But people are really bringing in their real items. And some people who have an item that don't want to be on TV and just don't want that attention, they'll give the item to somebody else, their grandson, granddaughter, or something to bring in, or a friend or something like that. And so that's it's one of those things where you sit back and that's how you make TV. You need to still be efficient and put out a great program. So. But people have got stuff, they'll send stuff in, you know what I mean? Because we're all looking, so.
Two things. Las Vegas is active imagination, and tell us about your canine friend.
Oh, that is Kahlua. She will be she's making an S down here now, as you can see. But she'll be 15 on January the 6th. Ironically.
Wow, cool.
The day my comedy special comes out. Yeah, she's a trooper. She runs the show here. So we have a bunch of chihuahuas and rescues, of course, and a cat. So that's her. And she'll be staying home tonight, watching the fireworks on TV.
There you go. Last thing, what else do you hope for 2026? And again, tell us one more time about the special on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I just hope people can find peace with themselves and be happy, and not judge other people. Don't look at your neighbors. Don't look at Facebook. It's not real life. Worry about you, and be happy and be nice to people. Just be nice to people. It's not that hard to be nice. I always say it's hard to be amazing all the time. It's hard to be shitty all the time, but to be nice is not easy consistently, and that's a cool place to be at. Because it's a nice, you don't get anxious, you don't have heart attacks, you don't stress out, you just kind of be nice, and stay in your lane and just let the world go by you sometimes. You don't stress about everything. What I mean? It doesn't really affect you. Don't let it affect you. You know what I mean? Stay in your bubble with your friends and family and enjoy life.
Well, here at C1 Interview, we strive to be nice, positive, uplifting, and entertaining, of course, as always. And one of the greatest entertainers, thank you so much, Las Vegas headliner Murray the Magician. Happy New Year, sir. Looking forward to everything in 2026, of course. Again, his new special, Amazon Prime Video, January 6th, sir. Tell us what the title is again before you go.
Yeah, Hairlarious Deceptions coming out January 6th on Amazon Prime. Brand new comedy special, brand new material, so check that out. And Happy New Year to you, Chris. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
You're welcome. We'll see you very soon, as always. Thank you so much. Have a good night, Murray.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye.